can handle the situation? Is he being overwhelmed? We've seen statements from Atiku, we've seen statements from Obi, we've seen statements from other politicians saying currently government is overwhelmed. Is that your belief as well? So I've got Liborous Oshoma, is a lawyer, is a legal practitioner, and is also a socio-political commentator, and that's why I've invited him on the show today. Welcome. Can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, good evening.
Okay. Welcome on board. So, you must be very much aware of the state of the nation. Every morning we get to hear about one insecurity report or the other. We know what the current economic status is. The dollar is beating the naira like it's a boxing match. First of all, what do you make of the situation? Do you think the government is overwhelmed like people like Atiku are arguing?
The country is a big local government.
A big local government.
Nigeria is just one local government.
Okay.
Too big for a chairman, who is the president,
okay,
to manage from one spot.
Okay.
So that's why you find out that everything that happens, in one area affects the entire country.
Okay.
And so it can be overwhelming for anybody. It's a long time coming, but we Nigerians didn't really take it seriously. We kept, like you said in your word, we kept the feeding bottle system. And because anybody that had benefit will leave out the argument of, we need to restructure. In pre-1999, Bola Ige was part of the action, what do you call it, at AD,
yeah, AD first.
AD, political party, I forgot their name now, Alliance for Democracy. Alliance for Democracy. They argued that we need a sovereign national conference to address the issues pervading the country and possibly refederate the country. But Olage and Co. came into Obasanjo's government and they argued that it's no longer feasible since we had a national security. And Fashola and Co., when they were in opposition, they campaigned vigorously that what we need was refederating or restructuring. It was in their time that the word restructuring happened.
Okay.
We need to restructure. We need to practice. You know, added another word, fiscal federalism. We need to practice fiscal federalism. And what we are practicing is not really federalism. We all know. But at the end of the day, came into government, that same thing that they said we need to practice, they set up a committee to make recommendations. Remember, the El-Rufai committee. And at the end of the day, that committee made a report, and that report came up with a report, and the report is gathering dust. It's in the dustbin of the parties.
Okay.
So we toyed with that idea, toyed with it, until we are where at this position today, when the effect of our years of neglect is, staring us in the face or has completely snowballed and, ballooned in our face. The first time in history that we are not supporting the naira, with dollars and all of that, because we are not even producing enough oil to have enough
dollars. Yeah.
Yes. Our balance of payment is deficit. So you don't have enough to show up. So in all of this, that's when now we are gradually, going back to that solution that we had consistently, touted as the solution. But unfortunately, it becomes very difficult today for anybody to believe anybody. Because Everybody that was in government, that are in government today, those that were in government, use this same federalism to campaign until they got into government, they abandoned it like Cocoyam. And those in government today use the same thing to campaign until they got into government. Now everybody, those outside of government are telling them, oh no, you need to refederate. You need to practice federalism. And that's why, the people are scared now. Who is sincere amongst all of them? That's the challenge. And then I also, remember I told you something today. The more money our government officials make, the more celebration they engage on.
Okay.
It's as if, when you have a glutton in the family, he insists that you eat together because he knows he will eat more. So when we make more money, that's when we now begin to talk about the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. Oh, it is good for us to stay together. It is good for us to do things together. And then we begin to click glasses. Just like a state whose internally generated revenue increased. Instead of them to begin to think of how to plow more money into critical sector, they begin to buy Glenfiddich whiskey to celebrate. You see them more in clubs. So that's the challenge that we are having. And to round up on this, your first question, if you travel world over, let's use what do you call it, Germany, for example. You go to Frankfurt. You see development in Frankfurt as though, Frankfurt, even though you go to Maine, you see Maine like, oh, wow, the development here is almost that from Frankfurt. You go to Wiesbaden, the same thing. If you now go to America, for example, the port in Miami is managed by the county, that's the local government. The airport is managed by the local government. The airport in Atlanta, there are a lot of Nigerians, most Nigerians that travel out of this country are passed through. It's managed by the county, which is a local government. So, and when you live, for example, you go to California. California is a state. You have Los Angeles. You have San Francisco. In the same California. And inside San Francisco, for example, you have San Francisco, you have Oakland. These are different counties. And when you get there, San Francisco is more, the number of high-rise you see in San Francisco are more than the number of high-rise you will see in the entire Nigeria. Abuja, Port Lagos put together. Just San Francisco, I'm not talking about Los Angeles now. Not to talk about Oakland. Because every government at the local level is in charge of their resources.
Not the state level now.
A lot of responsibilities. The money that accrues to the people at the local level is not taken to Washington before it comes back to them.
Now, let me pause you now. You're saying it's the local government, not even the state government, that controls...
Local government. Local government.
Okay.
Ports.
Okay.
I'm talking about ports. Like when you have this Nigerian Port Authority.
Yeah.
In the local government. Go to America, you will see a port, a federal port. They are all owned by the counties. The local government. Recently, I attended a seminar where you had, what do you call it, called them Board of County Commissioners from Miami Port. They came to interview. All of the people that introduced, all of the people that were introduced, all of the people that were introduced at that seminar, they were Board of County Commissioners representing the mayor of Miami, Board of County Commissioner representing so and so sector. Do you know that they came with an international trade consultant from the local government, country? And in that seminar, we had senators, we had House of Assembly members from Nigeria, Senator so and so, Senate Committee on Ports Authority. Honorable so-and-so, House Committee on Inland Waterways, Minister of transport, and so at the end of the day, that's why I told you that Nigeria is a big local government. So when local government when local government in other places sit down to discuss, our ministers will sit down and interface with them. That is why what we have is development in just one place, Abuja. Outside Abuja, every other thing is a councillorship.
All right. Now you've given us a very good background. Before we go for our first commercial stop set, I'd like to ask you, what would it take for us to refine or retune our constitution to, to be the way, like you've painted, the picture you've painted in other countries? What is it going to take? You're a legal practitioner.
Before I answer your question, that is why we hardly hold our governors accountable.
Yes, of course.
We hardly hold local government. In fact, local government is non-existent because what we do is we just they are imposed. The governors use their errand boys to fill in those positions. So the first thing we now need is an attitudinal change, a mindset change. Before we talk about the constitution, because the constitution is the last thing.
Okay.
It is not amend the constitution that is a problem. It is the mindset, the willpower to amend it. Actually, practicalism. But some people tell you, no, we keep saying if you amend the constitution, the Nigeria that control it's not so. You can't. We accept. Meanwhile, you go to Amfara, there's no that people are mining illegally and nobody's putting on that. There's like in Nasarawa that people are mining illegal. If you go to Adukogi, if you go to Iti, there's limestone. You go to Edo, there is limestone in commercial quantity. People are mining these things illegally. But we are so fixated on oil because we believe, oh yes, this thing, it is for everybody. And that's why we need to change that mindset that, look, everybody can develop and then the richer states will contribute more to the federal to support the smaller unit. And that's where we're not going to approach the constitution. How do we amend the constitution to update all of these things? The amendment will become it. Because if you amend the constitution, all the states of assembly will have to also agree to that amendment before the Senate and the House of Reps, because it's a major constitutional amendment. The state House of Assembly, it's just like local government autonomy, state creation. Before that, those amendments will be consent to by two-thirds majority of the state House of Assembly before the National Assembly can actually adopt it. But until that is done, if we do not have an attitudinal change, a mindset orientation, our brothers from the north, who we think any attempt at refederating the nation or practicing fiscal federalism is targeted at them, will oppose it.
All right.
And if you look at the geographical spread, they have more states than the South.
Okay. We would take a pause now. There is a commercial break, but when I come back, we'll continue from where you've stopped. I've got so many questions.
No problem.
Looking at illegal mining here and there. It's part of the insecurity woes we have. But when we come back, we'll talk some more. Do stay tuned. Commercial stop set and conversations continue afterwards.
Do you need a good paying job? Do you want
Quickly, let's look at some of the headlines. Another fire incident destroy goods, properties in Port Harcourt. Victims of fire at Nimbe Jetty recount losses as many still missing. Chairman of Maritime Workers Union called for mini fire station at Nimbe Jetty. Road safety officer, one other arrested in connection with pipeline vandalism in Rivers State. Former CDC chairman in Rumuwoji alleges there wouldn't be a local government election in Rivers State. Senate summoned security chiefs over insecurity across Nigeria. On the foreign scene, U.S. to respond to drone strike by Iran-backed militia group on American troops in Jordan. Details in the 6 p.m. bulletin. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808 721. Conversation on hard facts and 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am Kala Dakurubatsbo, and I have with me via the phone, and we are talking Liborous Oshoma, who is a legal practitioner and a socio-political commentator, and we're looking at restructuring as a panacea to some of the insecurity and economic woes that we have in the country. Welcome back, Barrister. Can you hear me? Hello. Yeah, I can hear. Okay, very good. So before we went for the commercial break, you were talking about, how in the northern part of the country we have illegal mining of natural resources ongoing, and in the southern part of the country, the government seems to focus on the crude oil, creating an imbalance and making it difficult for our state governors and local government chairmen to be creative. I would agree with me that the illegal mining in the northern part is the main cause of the insecurity scene, moving from the northern part now to the southwestern part. Yet again, oh my, I was going to ask, so I will reconnect with him. I'll go for another quick break, reconnect with him. But the question I want to ask him is, will a restructuring solve this problem? Because then the people, even in the Niger Delta, we talked about illegal refining not too long ago. Will restructuring solve that problem? And when we also look at the economy, if we have the states generating individually, that means there will be some kind of competition and there will be more production. Are we going to see the naira have value? Will restructuring solve that problem? And another question I would love to ask him when it comes online has to do with the legal, aspects of the conversation. Will the state houses of assembly or the state houses of assembly decide to amend the constitution as it is? But you can join me right now. All you have to do is call me or send me a message. Use the smart number 07009230923. All right, call me with that one, and then we would have a conversation. But meanwhile, I'm going back to the phone line and I'm going to try to establish connection with my guest. 07009230923. asking, given that there is a disparity when it comes to natural resources in the country, but you would agree with me that in the northern part, the insecurity is as a result of the illegal situation there. Will restructuring solve that problem? And as you and I have agreed, restructuring will give the state some level of creativity. Will that also help boost the Naira, in your opinion?
Yes. Even though I agree that it's not one solution fits all,
Okay.
because our attitude will largely depend on it. But also, I can tell you that it will make government smaller and responsibility closer.
Okay.
This idea of, if, for example, let me bring it home. In River State here, we know that the resources of River State is used for River State and not taken to Abuja. Everybody will protect it with their blood. Nobody will come and use, River State money the way they like.
Okay.
Because it's a federal allocation.
Okay.
When it is federal allocation, it looks like as if it's not your money. That's true. But if it is the money that you are getting from that place, everybody will protect it. But because there is free money from South, the government, the same, Nigeria has a lot of ungoverned territory. So everybody will look for his territory, grab it, and begin to pluck the way they like. In those days, Bunkry was the order of the day in the South. Petroleum pipeline where people blowing up petroleum pipeline and insecurity, militancy was the order of the day. But because it is the national cake, it is the good that is laying the golden egg. Government came with some abracadabra, they call it mercy. And so, please, okay, take small, make we take plenty. If you take small, we'll give you small, we'll take plenty. That for me is what they call it. And in Zamfara today, the same thing that is happening on government territory. Boy, go there, people are mining. It is not the small people that are mining the gold that are the problem. There are big, the former National Security Advisor, Mongulu, and the former Minister of Defense said that, including Uchoga, the former Minister for Mineral Resources, said that people were coming to Zamfara with private jets to take away gold.
Yeah.
These are their statements, federal government. So what it means is that there are people who see that area as ungoverned territory. But because the federal government now do not know how to tap into it, or that it doesn't make commercial quantity sense for them, they are not doing abracadabra.
But if it was being controlled by the state,
if the state was controlling the gold fully, completely, and they know that their life and their resources depend solely on this gold, everybody will protect it with their blood. Nobody will take it illegally. They will fashion out ways to ensure that they maximize it.
Interesting.
But that is why here the system of government, we tell ourselves, oh no, let us do it from the top. And when you do it from the top, like we're doing it now, it becomes too big. And when it is too big for one person to manage, you are going to have a lot of governed areas where touchlight no will reach. And those areas where touchlight no reach, you're going to have people who are there just cutting away gradually and becoming rich through those ungoverned territories. It is happening in the Niger Delta, it is happening in the Northeast, it is happening in the Northwest, it is happening in the Southwest, it is happening in the Southeast. That is why there's so much insecurity everywhere. Everybody believes the way we can grab our own is for us to create crisis. The North, the South created crisis. They had President Goodluck Jonathan. The Yorubas did OPC. They gave them, after Abiola's death, they gave them Obasanjo. That Niger Delta did their own. They got Jonathan. The North did their own. It's our turn. They got Yaradua. They got
Buhari.
And then people said, "Oh no, we must do our own." Now because they almost got the presidency last time, but that is still the challenge that we're having. Everybody thinks that by the time you drag, and then when you drag, they'll give you the presidency. And then when you not get the presidency, you forget all the problems that you are complaining of. You start to eat.
Now, let me pause it because we don't have much time. I was reading an article by Governor Hope Uzodinma, and this issue was brought up, and he was saying, no, we don't need state policing. State policing cannot handle it, because we're talking about all of this in general now. And you've just said if we restructure, governors will take on more responsibility, including controlling resources and protecting the people and the resources, which will involve policing. And the local government will also take in some level of responsibility. However, it looks like the governors are very much comfortable with the current situation. Like, for instance, Opus Odima says there is no need for state policing. Do you agree with that?
You see, unfortunately, what we have are lazy people who should ordinarily be in jail, parading themselves as our governor. And so, they wait for the body language of the government of the party they belong to, and then speak using that body language. They don't engage their brain before they open their mouth to talk. And so, naturally just gravitate towards them because of, the green bar has been at the red bar. That is why a governor will tell you, and you don't need state policing. And yet, there is so much insecurity in the state. And yet, this same governor, they are creating civil defense. They are creating traffic management. What are these? All those things, what are they? Are they not state policing directly? All those traffic management authority, Ebube Agu, and what do you call it, civil defense.
Amoteco.
And then not state police indirectly. And then you are also hiring Atari Dokubon's mercenaries or men to help provide COVID security in your area. Is it not indirect state police? And then that same person will come and tomorrow open his mouth and tell you we don't need it because the federal government of Nigeria belongs to the party that he belongs to, and they have not promoted policing. Just watch. If the president tomorrow comes out to say state policing is the way to go, the same Uzodinma
Sorry.
We tell you that yes, state policing is the way to go. What we have are people, and the worst of us really the best of us.
All right.
And that is why you have people who do not engage their faith before they open their mouth. Basically, what I am saying here is that all of this insecurity, most of this insecurity, you say there is also, as a result of unemployment, the result that the of unemployment is what they're facing now. You will be able to, if you have more money at the state level, at the regional level, you will be able to channel those funds, into proper use. You engage more people. You'll be able to engage more hands. Those days, when the state had less money, they were able more.
Hello, are you there? I guess we having connection issues. Are you there?
Rather than this same psychophancy. Was it not the same Uzodinma that was telling us that he wants to send how many youth from Imo State to Canada? The Canada that is sending youth to, he doesn't know how it is operated there.
All right.
The state of Alberta is different from the state of Ontario.
All right.
Yeah, they operate different.
I'm sorry. I would have to stop you. We have another commercial, so we have to stop the conversation now. But thank you very much for your time. So many more questions I have to ask you, but we don't have enough time. So
my pleasure always.
All right. Thank you very much, Liborous Oshoma, legal practitioner and socio-political commentator. Thank you once again. Do have a wonderful day.
Always a pleasure.
All right then. Keep listening. There is a commercial. When I come back, open season, you and I will look at all of these issues. But after the commercial will be the news at 6. So please just stay tuned.